Alright, yo guys, what's going on? It's Sword Rage, and welcome back to some more Cold War. So I believe as of right now, we're about 3 or so weeks into the new season. Currently I'm only level 79, but honestly at this point in time, I'm really just waiting for them to add the new sniper. I don't know if it was supposed to be a mid-season update. I mean, currently I'm recording this video on the 15th. I'm assuming that if it is going to be the mid-season update, we're probably going to hear something about that either tomorrow on Tuesday or maybe sometime next week. I don't know. So anyways though, here for today's video though, we are back once again with the annual one-handed sniping video. And now this is going to require a little bit of backstory, especially for the new subscribers, which real quick I wanted to take a quick second to say, seriously, thank you guys so much for the incredible support over these past 2 months. Ever since I finished out my DM Ultra grind over the past like month or two, I've gained close to like 5,000 subscribers, and that's seriously mind-blowing. So again, thank you all so much for that. So again, with the new subscribers, and for those of you guys that don't already know this about me, 3 years ago I almost lost my life in a car accident. I'll get into the whole story of it here in a little bit, but long story short, what ended up happening was I fractured my spine. I fractured the lower 3 or 4 vertebrae in my spine. I had a collapsed lung, and obviously I broke my left hand. And obviously, being a huge gaming nerd, breaking any bone in your hand or just breaking a hand in general is one of the worst things that can happen to you because no gaming. However, I was not going to go through 3 months of rehab, or I don't even know if that's the word I'm looking for here. I wasn't going to go through a couple of months of no gaming whatsoever. Like, no matter how long it was going to take my hand to heal, I wasn't going to like not game, you know what I mean? So lo and behold, because I am a PC player, I came up with the genius idea that I was going to go ahead and rebind certain things to my mouse here. And again, in case you guys already know this, I use a Logitech G203. It's been the exact same mouse that I've been using for the past 3 years, ever since my car accident. So now the way this all works is actually very simple. The 2 buttons that I have here on the side of the mouse are bound to W to move forward and for sprinting. So with that being said, obviously ASD is completely out of the equation here, so I can't, you know, move and stray from side to side. I've only got 5 mouse buttons, so I don't have very many options here. So what I ended up doing at the time was fire and aiming down the sight stayed the exact same, left click, right click. I changed reloading to scroll wheel down, and I have next weapon or switch weapon to scroll wheel up, and I still use these to this day. And now the only other option I have left is middle mouse, which I have that bound to interact or F, use, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, again, I don't have very many options, and you guys are going to see this throughout the course of the gameplay, that when it comes to my movement, I'm very, very limited. And especially in a game here like Cold War, where apparently every single match you're competing for $10,000, and everyone's, you know, jumping up and down, sliding from side to side. It doesn't really work out so well, but you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably chose the wrong game to play for this, but you know what, it's fine. So now, before I started recording this video though, I played 2 or 3 matches just trying to get the feel of it again, and I realized very quickly how impactful the movement is in this game. Like, I didn't realize not being able to jump and slide cancel and all sorts of stuff like that is so detrimental in a game like this. So now here's what I'm gonna do for the entire video. I'm gonna hold my left hand up here, just gonna be controlling everything with this right hand. This is one of the few times where I really wish I had like a spare camera to, you know, use for a hand cam here. We're also playing Stockpile here, which is basically Rxqe coming back to this game again. Let me know what you guys think of that, by the way. I was never really that big into Black Ops 3 when it first came out, so when I would go back to play BO3, it was kind of fun to play. And playing it here in Cold War really isn't so bad. I don't know. I feel like the maps don't service it as well as it did in Black Ops 3, though. It's still a pretty fun game mode, though, so I really don't mind playing this along with Hardpoint. There we go. So again, the reason as to why I'm keeping my hand up here is, well, besides the obvious of showing that I'm playing one-handed, but at the same time when I had the cast on my hand, if you guys have ever broken a finger or broken your hand or like basically broken any sort of bone, hurt yourself in that kind of sense, you would know that you have to keep it elevated, like you want to keep it above your heart, I think is what the doctors recommend. So throughout my entire time of having the broken hand, while I was still daily uploading at the time, just every day would be exactly like this. And which I actually wanted to go ahead and show you guys this. It might be kind of hard to tell with the ring light, I'm kind of sorry, but you guys can kind of see like the scars on my hand right there. I've also got scars there on the top of my knuckle as to where the pins were, but yeah, so I broke that long metacarpal bone, I think it's called, in my hand. Completely shattered it, and yes, it hurt a lot. Oh, collateral. Absolutely gaming out here. Yeah, I'm not sure where anybody is supposed to spawn in this game mode for Moscow. If I'm remembering this correctly, I think it took about 2 or 3.5 months for my hand to fully heal. So, again, for that period of time, I was playing one-handed, and one of the proudest things that I ever managed to do while I was playing one-handed was make my one-handed montage. I'll go ahead and like leave one of those like little cards. I'll also leave a link to it in the description below if you guys are interested in checking that out. But I ended up making a montage while playing with the broken hand, and and seriously, it's one of my most favorite videos that I've ever uploaded. Romy, who edited, she did a fantastic job on the edit. It's a pretty emotional video for me, and I used a song that I really enjoyed. For those of you guys that may be familiar with Asking Alexandria, I use their song Room 138 because it kind of describes the night of the event pretty well. Now, if you know Asking Alexandria and you know Danny Warsnop, it's not the same in the obvious sense. Just in the relation to the car accident and dealing with the paramedics, it kind of spoke to me in that way. So besides all of that, now to go ahead and get into the story as to what happened. The story of my car accident, essentially. Going back 3 years ago, my life was pretty different, and honestly, I would say I was at one of the lowest points in my life that I had ever been at. Especially for those of you guys that have been around for a long time, I had just gotten out of a pretty long-term relationship. I got dumped, essentially. And at that point in time in my life, I had made some new friends. I was hanging out with them pretty consistently, and they're like seriously such a fantastic group of friends. I haven't really spoke much to them because I don't know, like our lives just kind of took us on naturally, just took us on different paths. I still hope they're doing well. Seriously, great group of people. So basically what happened was, first I want to go ahead and say this. I don't want anybody to get like any sort of wrong assumption that I was driving under the influence, because I'm not that kind of person at all. Like, if you guys know me, I don't drink, I don't do anything. I am of age, I'm 24. I could do that, but I don't. But basically what happened was, I was hanging out with this group of friends, and they lived about like an hour or so away from where I live. It was getting pretty late at night, and I was at a house that I didn't really know, and even though I was there with two of my friends, I didn't really feel comfortable staying there. It was getting pretty late at night. Again, didn't really feel comfortable staying there. Figured I would go ahead and just drive home. And on my way home, I was driving on this parkway going about 60 miles an hour. I was the only person on the road. I was going the speed limit and everything. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a child of God. And basically what ended up happening is, you guys know those moments while you're driving around, like you're not always like looking directly at the road, which I know this sounds so horrible. Again, it's one of those moments where you're just kind of like looking around naturally and you're, you know, close field of view. And I guess I looked away for 1 second too long, and like, it's kind of scary to think about, but this is reality. Things can really happen in an instant, and that's what's really scary about this whole situation, is that when I looked back ahead of me, there was this little, I'm guessing it was like a baby deer, or this massive ass like fox, wolf, dog, baby deer thing. I don't know, something of that nature. All of a sudden, they were just right there in front of my car, and naturally, okay, listen, I know what you guys are gonna say in the comment section. Trust me, I know, I've been hearing this for years. Basically, what you're taught to do is to not swerve the car when you're going at, you know, high speeds like that, but that's exactly what I did. It was really just pure instincts in reaction to the situation, but yeah, long story short, that's kind of how it happened. I ended up swerving, completely losing control of the car, and I fell into this ditch to where the way my car crashed, I hit a bump, so my car went up, and then it came back down on the nose of the car, and then it completely flipped over topside, so I was upside down for a little bit. Now, what really sucks is, actually what still irritates me about this to this day, is the fact while I was dangling upside down in my seat, seatbelts save lives, by the way, while I was dangling upside down in my seat, I witnessed like 3 or 4 cars drive by, and I'm just like, hello? If you see a car that is flipped over and you, like, why? What makes you think it's a good idea to just keep driving by? Like, especially when, you know, lights are on and everything. I really don't know what was going through their heads, and I still won't to this day. But anyways, thankfully, eventually, 2 guys did stop. Or 1 car stopped, 2 guys got out, made sure that I was okay, which getting out of that car was a whole nightmare, dude. Oh my God. I pray that none of you have never experienced this, but God forbid you're ever in a situation where you're upside down in a car. Those seatbelts are no joke. Like, they keep you strapped in that seat, because I was dangling upside down and the seatbelt was like digging into my hips because it hurt like so bad, because, you know, my body weight is just falling over it. Now, at the time, I didn't have a seatbelt cutter or anything like that, so I had to, like, I really don't even know how I got out of the seat, because I couldn't really feel for the, you know, seatbelt release. So once I finally got myself unhooked, I couldn't get the door open either. That was completely jammed shut. I think it was just like the way my car was resting at an angle. I couldn't open the door, so I had to kick open the window, crawl out of it, and by the time that I had crawled out of it, I saw that again, thankfully 1 car did stop. They had already called the ambulance and everything like that, made sure that I was okay, and again, like, at the time, thankfully I was, man. But let me tell you, holy shit, adrenaline, that is something insane. Again, I pray none of you guys never have to experience this kind of thing, but in case you ever really do feel that natural rush of adrenaline, you don't feel pain worth shit. Because obviously at the time, I had no idea I had a collapsed lung, I had no idea my hand was broken, or or, you know, let alone that my spine was broken. It wasn't up until the paramedics I got there and I was just laying on the side of the road that my legs started shaking uncontrollably. And I was kind of freaking out with the paramedic, like, am I having a seizure? What's going on? And he's like, no, dude, you're fine. It's just your adrenaline dumping. Obviously, the whole situation was quite the surreal experience, but that was a very, very weird feeling. Now, that is just quite the unfortunate spawn. This sucks. I can't jump, so I'd like... yeah, there we go. Going back to the gameplay for a quick second, what I had to do if I really had to jump or, like, call on a kill streak, I would, like, take my hand in the cast and, like, smack my keyboard. I would, like, karate chop it. Was that a good idea? No. Did it hurt a lot? Yes.
Hostile spy plane established overhead.
No! Oh my god! If I was able to hit a one-handed quad feed, I would have been so happy with that. Oh my goodness. And now, what was actually kind of funny about me getting into the hospital for the first time is that when they initially had me in the, in my first room, I don't know what they call that, but when I was in my first room and they were, like, you know, checking me out, making sure, or, like, what was going on, I had no idea that I had a collapsed lung. I mean, my body was obviously very sore, but I had no idea that I had a collapsed lung up until the nurse told me. She's like, yeah, you have a collapsed lung, by the way, and I was just like, what are you talking about? It was at that exact moment is when it really started hurting to breathe, and yeah, that was not fun. Oh my god, dude. But yeah, so again, it wasn't up until that point that I realized what was really going on with me, and that really sucked.
Bullshit!
I missed! No! I suck. I'm not happy about that. Should have had the easiest clip of my life right there. I'm playing one-handed. I don't need to be so hard on myself. And this is another thing. I know people have made these jokes for years. Again, for those newer viewers, if you guys ever see comments or in my Twitch stream and you see somebody making a comment about how I played better one-handed, that's kind of a relative situation. I promise I was really not that good playing one-handed. I just managed to kind of get lucky. That's really about it. And I still remember this super vividly. Like, when I was in that first room again, I was like moving my hand like this, and I was like, I pray my hand isn't broken, and obviously it was. I was so upset when the doctor told me my hand was broken, because I was like, no, I can't play video games. I was legitimately upset about that. Yes, I'm a nerd. Obviously, though, it didn't take me very long to realize, wait a minute, I could probably just rebind some very basic controls to my mouse, and that's what I did. But yeah, so again, I only spent a couple of days in the hospital. Obviously, everything's all good, and I'm okay now. As far as like all of my injuries go, I mean, my hand's completely fine. The only thing that sucks is that I lost the hyperextension in my middle finger. I lost the hyperextension in that. Obviously, I've got my scars. I still have a scar on my rib cage from where they had to put a tube into my chest to help with the collapsed lung. Spine is still doing pretty good. I go and see a chiropractor like every 2 to 3 weeks, so that's nice. Not because I'm in like excessive amounts of pain, but you know, just, you know, keeping everything in order. And now I can't go and tell this story without mentioning this part. Yeah, so a friend of mine, Marshall, most of you guys may already know him. How can I say this in the nicest way possible? Marshall, he's a very joking individual. He's an asshole. It's just what he is. Nah, but on the real though, Marshall and I are very cool. We've known each other for a good number of years. We made a montage together, Beauty and Rage. In case you guys haven't realized or, again, already knew this about me, I obviously used humor and joking as a coping mechanism with everything. This is gonna sound so horrible for those people that don't know Marshall, but what happened was, when I finally got my whereabouts back and everything, like once I, you know, finally came to with really what happened while I was in the hospital, I had updated Twitter and everything like that, and I went in for surgery. I come back from surgery. I was checking Twitter and I see that Marshall had either, I think it was like he quoted my tweet or responded to it. I don't know if he did it with the car explosion death thing, you know, from COD. You know, that little icon that comes up when you die to a car explosion or something like that. Or I think he just tweeted hit markered at me. It had like close to 100 retweets or something psychotic like that. A lot of people were mad and I get it, but at the same time, they don't know him. See, I found it hilarious and I found it so funny to the point that I literally couldn't breathe for a minute. I couldn't breathe and the tube in my chest was starting to fill up with blood and it got very, very uncomfortable. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I still think it's hilarious to this day. Like not even a month or two ago, there was some viral tweet going around where it was just like, quote this tweet with the last reason why you were in the hospital. And I was the one who tweeted back with the little car explosion thing. So it's all in good humor. Obviously don't take that very seriously. It's all in good humor, all in good jokes, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And now again, like I was saying a little bit ago, obviously I'm all good now. It's been 3 years, which is really, really crazy to think about. I'm trying to think if there was like anything else that was pretty major. I mean, like aside wearing the cast, because I had a broken back, I had to wear this little flak jacket brace. If I can find the tweet of it, I'll go ahead and put the screenshot up. I think I had like captioned a selfie with BO1 flak jacket pro IRL or something like that. So yeah, clearly I was in good spirits about everything. Like I was just more thankful to be alive, you know what I mean? Which this obviously is, you know, like the big takeaway from the video, I would say, is that, you know, obviously, I'm not really trying to make this, you know, like super cheesy and super deep, but, you know, just tomorrow is never guaranteed. You know, be sure that you live life to the fullest every single day. Tell your loved ones that you love them. Oh, I thought that was an enemy. I was about to flick on that man. I think I was in the little flak jacket back brace thing for about like a month or so, if I remember correctly. One thing that definitely felt very, very weird was taking my first steps without the flak jacket brace on. Like it was a very weird feeling. I have never felt so light on my feet in my life. Basically, I was just moving around, you know, freely again, and it just kind of felt weird to, you know, walk without that kind of assistance. Which that honestly is probably the biggest takeaway. Aside, you know, obviously being thankful for not losing my life, but, you know, also being thankful for the fact that even though I fractured the lower 3 or 4 vertebrae in my spine, that I wasn't paralyzed because of it. I really couldn't even begin to imagine, like, what my life would have been like if that was my reality. And, like, seriously, there are people that live with that kind of reality every single day, and they are seriously some of the strongest people that I know, man. Some of you guys may know him. Jordan, Nemo, one-handed sniper, got nub, I think is his ad. I think we were in Lycan for a good point in time together, but yeah, he's actually missing a hand. He is a legit one-handed sniper, and seriously, he's one of the coolest guys I've met on here. And I can tell he's got a good sense of humor about the situation too, because I remember he tweeted something at me. He's like, I can lend you a hand if need be. Humor is quite the coping mechanism. It's something kind of special, but yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I missed, and I don't think so. I had my accident. I went through my recovery process. I think it was at some point in time by the end of June, or like somewhere around like middle of June, I was all good again, and I ended up releasing my one-handed montage in like the beginning of July, I think. It was a really crazy time in my life, obviously, and it's kind of nice to reflect back on that, you know, just once a year go back and do a little one-handed sniping video. I mean, I'm all good. I mean, again, go to the chiropractor. I get myself adjusted quite often, and I don't feel any pain when I walk. I don't really feel any pain in my hand. I don't have any trouble breathing. I've recovered fully, at least as far as I know, and I feel pretty good about it. So on that note, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap up this quick little video. Again, just wanted to turn on the camera and just talk about the story 3 years later. So yeah, feel free to go ahead and join my Discord. That's linked down in the description below, so you guys never miss pings on when I post new videos here to YouTube, as well as when I go live on Twitch. Once again, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you guys did. Subscribe if you're new. It's been SoulRage, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody.